everybody? It's Angel Ghost Girl here, and right now we're reading more from this book. If you missed the other video, check out my last video right before this. But let's get into it. This page is called the Old Hag Syndrome, also known as sleep paralysis. You wake up unable to move, barely able to breathe. You feel an oppressive weight on your chest, and you sense some evil presence in the room. The old hag strikes. A dreadful sound is continually in the ears. A huge weight, being which cause incredible pain, renders you paralyzed. It may seem to be seated on your back. As you dream, you are laying in bed, in agony. There is no way to get it off you. You cannot call out. You are in terror as it seems to be stealing the life out of you. You know that if you stop struggling against for a second, you will perish. This is the worst of its horrors. This is reported. If you try and force a movement, you hear the sound of electricity buzzing all around you. It stops when you stop struggling. You could try to scream, or actually be screaming at the top of your lungs, but nothing comes out. Sometimes shadows are seen in the room. Sometimes you see nothing. It's also accompanied by strange smells. The sound of footsteps or shuffling or smells. The apparitions of weird shadows or glowing eyes and laughter can sometimes be heard. And this next page is called Hellhounds. Black spectacled dogs in British that are large dogs. Black Suck is the Norfolk name given to one of many different huge spectacled hounds which are common in the folklore of the British Isles, also called by such names a padfoot, striker, and black shag. These enormous black hounds haunt lonely places such as heaths, remote crossroads, graveyards, and even abandoned towers and castles. They are hideous and terrifying in appearance, often being as large as a horse, covered in the thick, matted black hair, and sporting luminous green or red eyes, from which flames flicker. They are almost always seen after dark. Several other variations of the black shuck are described in British folklore, including a headless type and one which is seen running atop a moving layer of mist rather than the ground, sometimes accompanied by a hairless woman transforms into one. On the ninth night, it is seen by a particular traveler. The shuck is deadly best on some occasions. It attacks humans, snapping their necks in its powerful jaws as easily as a mortal hound breaks the neck of a hare. At other times, it is the foreboding sign of impending death in the family, particularly if the person who sees it fails to avoid encounters with the beast on subsequent nights. Sometimes the hound praws a blast of searing hellfire. The shuck and his brothers are not always a threat to the traveler. The girt dog of the Quentin Hills and other like him is said to watch over lone wanderers and children, and others are content to watch and follow vanishing when confronted sources. And we're going to read this other page called Poltergeist. Poltergeist, a mischievous and sometimes malevolent spirit or energy that is characterized by noises, moving objects, and general physical disturbances. Poltergeist comes from the German words poltern, to knock, and geist, spirit. Report of poltergeist disturbance date back to ancient Rome times, appear in the medieval records of Germany, China, and Wales, and continue to be reported from countries around the world. Poltergeists have been studied exclusively by physical researchers and parapsychologists since the 1890s. Various theories have been advanced to explain them. This one is called Banshee. Banshee, a female death omen spirit of Ireland and Scotland that attaches itself to families, especially those whose surname begins with Mac and or O, and manifests to herald an approaching death in the family. There are variations of the Banshee in Irish and Scottish lore. An Irish variation, written as being C, is said to be beautiful with long streaming hair and wearing a gray cloak over a green dress. She also appears all in white or all in red. Her eyes very red from continual crying for about to be departed. To warn a family of a coming death, the banshee is most commonly heard singing or crying, but is not seen. When seen, she appears as a woman singing, or as a shouldered woman wearing a veil, or as a flying figure in the moonlight, crying bitterly. The cry reportedly is so mournful that it is unmistakable, the sound of doom. So if you like videos like this, then like and subscribe and comment in the comments below. But until next time, everybody, sweet nightmares or sweet dreams.